Joe Biden versus Donald Trump head-to-head poll. Trump up by 5. That's outside the margin of error. So why is that? Why is Joe Biden doing so poorly? We'll look at this next. Compare it to this. Ta-da! Ooh, that hurts. 52% in 2020 had favorable views. It didn't mean they were necessarily going to vote for Joe Biden, but they thought he was a good dude. Now it's 38%. Why is that? Why? And survey says the other side. Oh, that is way, way too low. And particularly too low is that 70%.
Michigan voters, 100,000 of them, Michigan Democrats, sent a message to the Biden campaign. They said, we are not happy with you. That's a problem.
Around 100,000 Arab and Muslim voters in the state chose to abandon the president and mark uncommitted on their ballots instead. The protest vote was meant to send a strong message to Biden about their displeasure toward the president's support for Israel's brutal war in Gaza.
Frankly, there might be momentum behind this unexpected and unprecedented effort here. Remember, the goal of the Uncommitted campaign in Michigan was just to get 10,000 votes. 10,000. They got 10x that. And it's worth noting that there are a number of other states that have uncommitted options. About 20 or so: Idaho, Montana, Michigan, Colorado, Iowa, Massachusetts, Minnesota, North Carolina, Tennessee, Hawaii, DC, New Jersey. There are a lot of opportunities for people to come out and say, okay, you didn't think that was significant this time? Will you think it's significant if we continue to replicate these results all across the country, including in other states that are sensitive for Democrats, must-win states where they have very narrow margins?
Is Joe Biden the presidential nominee for Democrats?
It's really hard to, it's going to be really hard to blast him out of there. I'll give you a different answer.
I can't see it. Not when the polls continue to look like
But it wasn't just Arab American voters who made their views on Biden crystal clear. So did young voters.
What can President Biden do in terms of outreach to younger voters that he hasn't done already? I mean, he's already forgiven all the student debt that he can. He's already showing up on Seth Meyers and TikTok. How does he reach the younger crowd?
A lot of people in politics forget this. There are a lot of people who will vote for Donald Trump on the issues, even if they don't like him. And that's where he is going to have to, that's where he's going to have to work and build his coalition.
Tammy, this is new. We haven't shown this one yet. So this is the top issue. This is the new Fox News poll. Top issue for people deciding their vote for president. Lot of talk about illegal immigration and the border, and that is a horrible issue for Joe Biden. The economy remains number one.
Yes, and he fails on really all those issues. When people are finally beginning to look up, it's March, it's an election year, and we've been told now for 2 years, oh, it's getting better. Everything's fine. Everything's going to get better. Every next month, it's going to be better and better and better. Americans are realizing that's not true.
Just yesterday, Gallup released its latest poll showing that illegal immigration is the top concern among American voters.
It was in front of this building on 42nd Street where two cops tried to break up a mob, and they were assaulted by illegal aliens who are now out bail-free. I decided to ask New Yorkers what should be done and their reaction to the incident. Do you blame President Biden for that?
I do. I do. Because the wall was being built. Then it got stopped.
Honestly, I think we have to protect the border more. We need to know who's here, and I'm a diehard Democrat, and I'm saying that.
Your thoughts on who's to blame for this migrant crisis we're seeing in the city?
The government. You know why the government is to blame? Because they let him in. Joe Biden.
Why?
I blame Joe Biden because Donald Trump didn't let no migrants in.
President Biden.
Why?
Because the border's wide open.
There's a guy named Joe Biden.
Is that who you blame?
That's where everything started about 4 years ago.
Black Americans are waking up to the reality that the Democratic Party has taken advantage of them, and the media and the party are terrified. Our community supports the policies of President Donald J. Trump and knows full well that life was better 4 years ago under his administration. No amount of media deception or liberal race baiting will sway the minds of black voters who will cast their ballots this November for safer streets, a better financial well-being, a secure border, and a complete rejection of Joe Biden's disastrous tenure.
The people feel like if he's reelected, that he'll have the energy, he'll have the charisma to get up and go and fight for the issues.
What do you think is going to be the number one issue that drives black folks to the polls?
Well, it has to be the economy. I think everyone is suffering right now.
Economy.
You can't fool what happens at the grocery store.
We have a lot of people in the room today from Chicago. We have people from New York, and we also have people that are in Texas, from where you're from, that are tired of what we're seeing with the migrant issue.
Joe Biden's policies are putting, illegal immigrants ahead of the urban voters, of the black community here.
So it looks like there's a shift amongst black folks, and it looks like more and more are going for the Republican Party. Why now?
I think the Biden administration has really, in the last 4 years, I was just having a conversation at the table, it's like the whole house is in shambles.
I think most black people are trying to look for something different. And a lot of us are waking up, especially black men, and we're waking up to what the Democrat Party has been doing to us for so many years.
You can see what Biden is doing right now, making promises, but in reality, nothing is changing. We've been hearing hope and change for a long time now, and there hasn't been a real hope and change at the ground level.
Appeal there for some black men with Trump. What is it?
Money.
Money.
Yeah. I mean, Donald Trump has a reputation of being the money man, so.
I just think that Donald Trump, in spite of all the craziness he may have in his head, reading some of the things that he talks about with business, I can kind of agree with as far as business-wise, because I'm trying to grow my business.
There are some people in your orbit who are either voting for Donald Trump or considering it?
For sure. A lot of my friends are obviously my age, so we're a little younger. We've only voted once, for a president. And Trump is kind of all we know. And they're kind of Trump and Biden. They're like, well, we were broke with Biden. We weren't with Trump. And that's kind of the only thing that I'm hearing over and over again, is that, well, Trump, we had money.
Think that somebody else besides Biden should be president?
Yes,
next time?
Of course. Bring back Trump.
Tell me why.
We had money. We had money when Trump was president.
Vote for Trump if he runs, because I feel like it was much better when he was here financially for everybody, not just me, for everybody.
I'm definitely voting for Donald Trump. He made sure we had money in our pockets. He was for the people. He made sure we had what we needed. I feel like everything will go back to how it was. I mean, ever since he's been out of office, everything's declined.
When Trump was president, my life was good, economical-wise.
Put this one up. This is Joe Biden's success and failure metric based upon various issues. And the viewer can see how bad it is when it comes to the issues. I'm fascinated by the second to bottom line, unifying the country. Failure, 69% on unifying the country. So my question for you both is, what issue would the Biden administration, the Biden campaign move to try to win? We've talked about abortion. There now seem to be rallying around this save democracy, Republicans represent Russia narrative. It's like, can they find the message, or do they replace Joe Biden?
I think they ultimately go back to abortion, because I don't think these other issues work. But in a very weird way, I think that Democrats and the White House, they're very happy to talk about Joe Biden's age. Because honestly, as bad as that is, they would rather talk about his age than crime, illegal immigration, the wars overseas, and the economy. Those are all four of those are dead killers for him. They would rather talk about it.
Let me tell you, there's a Bloomberg Morning Consult poll just from a week ago as well that showed in the swing states, 8 out of 10 voters polled said he's too old in the swing states. So that becomes a key. I would say, though, that on everything you mentioned, Will, whether it's abortion or it's extremism or anything else they're going after, is about condemning half the country. It's about it's about posting Americans who support Trump or who are conservatives as being evildoers or as being white supremacists. That's what Americans have not liked. Strangely enough, they thought it would be the winning thing, is to divide and conquer. Right. Americans are saying, no, we've got too much at stake.
It is interesting, Tammy. Like, conservatives and Republicans criticize a presidency, criticize a thought process or an ideology, and Democrats often criticize their opponent voters.
Exactly.